So, question 1. There are no angles involved apart from the right angle. And that's true for every question on this sheet. So it's going to be using Pythagoras' theorem. We've got the two sides. Start with the longest side. Do 41 squared. The other side, 40. Do that one squared. If you're finding the longest side, you always add those together. If you're finding a short side, you always do a taking away. On this question, here's the longest side, the hypotenuse. You know that. You're finding one of the shorter sides. So, we do a taking away. 41 squared is 1,681. That's 41 times 41. 40 squared is 1,600. Do the taking away, you get 81. Final step you need to do is then square root the 81. And that gives you an answer of 9 centimetres. The answer to part A, 9 centimetres. Part B. The next one, similar sort of thing. We've got two sides and we're trying to find the third. So you need to do 8.4 squared. And if you do 8.4 squared, you get 70.56. You need to do 3.5 squared. If you do that, you get 12.25. We've got to find the longest side. We add those two numbers together. Add those together, you get 82.81. Final step, you square root. If you square root that, you get 9.1. 9.1 is the answer to part B. Yes?
I didn't get number A again.
Okay. Part A. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Again, both measurements, square them. Is that okay for you?
Yeah.
What you've seen, right. Part C, the next one. Okay. Again, we've got two sides which we know, one we don't know. Start with the biggest side, do 96 squared. Then the other side, 28 squared. On this one, are we finding the longest side, Tom, or one of the short sides? Finding this one here, the longest side. That means we need to do an add with those answers, okay? If you do those, this number here is 9,216. This one is 784. When you add those together, you get 10,000. Then you need to square root. When you square root, you get 100. Answer for that one is exactly 100. Across to part D. Again, we've got two sides given to us. We need to find the next one, the missing one. You do 325 squared. You do 323 squared. Are we finding on this one the longest side or one of the short sides? One of the short ones. So, we do taking away with those answers. Once you square them and do the taking away, that gives you 1,296. What's the final step?
Oh, I know.
Go on.
Square root of 1,296.
Yeah, square root of that number, that's right. And that gives you 36. So, the first part of this paper, the answers you should have are 9, 9.1, 100, and 36. And there are 2 marks for each of those. On the question here, you haven't got a drawing. It tells you Sam walks 100 metres north and then 100 metres east. First thing you've got to do is do a drawing. So, give yourself a starting point. 100 metres north, north is straight up. And then you need to go 100 metres east. East is going right, that's on the points of the compass. So you've done that journey, 100 up and 100 right. They want you to know how far are you from your starting point, which is finding this distance here. I've got the question mark in. And again, it's a right angled triangle. Just like before, you do 100 squared, which is that number, and you do that one squared, another 100 squared. 100 squared is 10,000. Do I add those two together, or do I do a taking away? Okay, finding the longest side, so I need to do an adding up. Add those together, I get 20,000. What's the final step in that question? Yep, square root, yeah. If you square root 20,000, the final answer over here is 141.4. Okay, and that's in metres. 141.4. No, if you've got one more decimal place as well, that's absolutely fine. The last question I know caused some people problems because they've already spoken to me about it. So, the last question. They're asking you for the perimeter. The perimeter is the distance all the way round. So that will be that 6 plus that 5 plus that 9 plus this distance over here. And that's the hard part. So, if we make a triangle here and look at this triangle, along the bottom of the triangle, this length here, well, that's all 9, that is 6. This length here is 3. It's the difference between the 6 and the 9. Up the side, that distance is 5 centimetres, and I'm trying to find this sloping side over here. That is now a Pythagoras question.
I don't see why you can't just put it into 2 triangles.
That's another way of doing it as well, but you will somehow still need to find out length of some side somewhere. Okay, because we're doing the perimeter, and you need to find the length of this side. So, just doing this bit here for a minute. We need to do 5 squared. We need to do 3 squared. 5 squared is 5 times 5, which is 25. 3 squared, 3 times 3, which is 9. We're finding the sloping side, the hypotenuse, the longest side. We add those together. Add those together, you get 34. To find the length of that side, you then need a square root. Square root of 34, you get 5.8. So finally, the distance all the way around the outside is the 6, the 5, the 9, and the 5.8 added together. And when you add all of those up, you get 25.8. 25.8 is the final answer for that question.